welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny and today this is a 50 episode special of Let's Play Silkenshore where I'm gonna go through and recap the entire series thus far, so that if you're a new subscriber or if you just want a recap of what's happened thus far, this is the ideal video for that. So hey, hi, hello. Welcome along for the ride. So Silkenshore is our custom neighborhood that we've been building along the times, and it is taking part in a custom terrain. We also have a little shopping district of Grimsby that is very new, but here is the town. The terrain is made by someone on Mod The Sims. I will link them in the description down below, and every single building you see here is custom built for this neighborhood specifically. So we have quite a bit of things, and most of them are owned by Sims in the town. A few places are not, such as like the Marine Research Center, which is a community lot. We also have the Chapel of the Watcher. In this town there is a religion aspect inspired by The Sims Medieval. It's also the graveyard of the town. Another place that is not owned by a Sim is the police station, the school, the playground of school also, and then the town hall. Other than that, every place is Sim owned. We have a post office, we have a construction office, we have a grocery store, and we have a clothing shop. And also we have, it's called a bar and restaurant, but it's really a nightclub. You can kind of see through there. We'll go through everything as we get to it, but the first thing I want to kind of start up with is the neighborhood story, which I've been keeping up to date ever since from the beginning. So you can kind of see how the town used to look. Let's get the same angle. Let's get the same angle. You can kind of see the difference here. We have a lot more things going on. For example, this entire area over here. And we've been building stuff up a little by little and detailing as we went along. So let's get started. The Greens family was the first to arrive, so I met a couple, and their house was so disgusting. They lived in a little shack, and their quest was basically to make sure that this place is livable, and they've been doing very well for themselves. They're possibly the wealthiest family in town right now. We have the Silkenshore's oceanographers. So Dewdrop was the second one to arrive. I'm gonna mostly scroll through these. Blunder was the town adventurer, also working for the Marine Research Institute. And eventually the two of them got married. Is the Letterman family? I'm gonna go through their like personal stories later, but this gives you a bit of a overall timeline. We got Cherry and Clover got born. Oh gosh, a lot of shenanigans have been going on. A lot of birds. The Crunch family, they own the construction office, and there's been a whole storyline with Donna. Donna is possibly my favorite Sim in the entire thing. And the Modiste family, they own the clothing shop. Oh, drama. The drama. You can kind of see if you skip around. And here we introduce kind of like the more about the Watcher's Embrace, which we'll get to. And eventually police. More drama, you know. Just like horrible drama. We have witches, we have teenage drama, we have everything. So without further ado, I think I'm gonna start with the Greens family. They were the first one who got into this town ever, so we're gonna go start with them. So this is the Greens' home. As you can see, they live in a bit of a farm. This is kind of interestingly built because we started as a little shack that was this size, and we've slowly been building it up. And there's like various strange like architectural elements like this entire shack that are quite different. Let's just go to build mode so we can get light. That are quite odd because of the way that we've just been building, and we haven't demolished anything really. We've just been like adjusting and building things as we've got along. So they have a little little hobby science room. They have their farm, as they do. They've had a couple of pets die, sadly, due to old age. And we've recently had quite a bit of renovations to this house. We got a whole new kitchen, we have our little walk-through closet thing, and we have all kinds of stuff. But the most important thing for us in this household, at least for me, is that Rosa and Colin were the original first people who ever moved into Silkenshore. And they moved into as adults, and they've been here for quite a while. This has been... the last episode, we just got done with the end of the 4th year in town. So we've been playing for 4 years in game time. Of course, a lot longer. Well, 4 seasons. 4 seasons times 4. That's how many rotations we've had. And they've had quite a story. Pretty wholesome. They have so it's Colin and Rosa. And they have kids. They have Cherry. And they have Clover, who are twins. And they also currently have a cat who's called Moonshine. They've had a lot of other pets before, but again, it's a long-term series, so it's been going along. And what I've done with them is that I've been keeping track of their story ever since the beginning, much like for all of the other Sims in this household. So it was just the 2 of them before, and they moved in. They had their twins. And there's been quite a lot of shenanigans. We had such a long time of struggling with this family, truly from poverty, because you don't make a lot of money just selling groceries, turns out. Also had a lot of weird, well, difficulty or glitches with Sims not fully paying for their stuff before leaving. So they had quite a boon getting a boost from a friendly genie. And even so, they got their stuff stolen and everything. It was horrible. Sadly, they also lost the dog here. It's been a lot of things growing up. This was something that I thought was gonna become a huge point of contention. So actually, Rosa had a little dalliance. She had a little dalliance with someone, Canvas Modiste. Who we'll get to eventually, I suppose, in the Modiste family. But she has not ever since done anything of the sort. So maybe that was just a one-time thing. And Moonshine was adopted, so I haven't been keeping up with the cats as much. In the last episode, the twins grew up, which was amazing. We had a great party that ended up in kind of tears, actually. It was the worst party of all time. The police came up and broke it up. And there's been some romantic shenanigans between with the twins. Well, not between the 2 of them, but they've both been interested in the Gert Michael Letterman. Gert Michael actually turned Cherry down, but Clover has had more success. But he's also interested in Ria Quattro, so I guess we'll see where that goes. It's been quite fun, actually. Just having them really struggle, because you don't get a lot of money from having a food shop in my Sims game because of the various mods that I have that make it more difficult. But it's been so great. I love it so much. I love them so much, and they are a cornerstone of the community in Silkenshore. Next up is the Glissengold family. Blunder and Dewdrop were actually the next 2 Sims I ever added to this town, and they were not supposed to be a couple. I made them because I needed Sims with a lot of facial slider diversity, and I was hoping they would find townies to be with, but unfortunately that was not the case. And they both work in the Marine Research Center. They initially lived in here, and then they moved to a row house in here, and I recently built them their own house in here, and I'm gonna get right in there and I'll show you. So here we are at their house. They also have a relatively new house. This has been built by me, of course, and it's been inspired by a 50s house plan. And I just wanted to add like a funky color. But that's the reason why there's a lot of like these weird architectural decisions that I've just kind of like been working around. So upstairs there's just the bedrooms. This is a relatively new house, so that's why we don't have a lot of like furnishing or like stuff at the outside. Inside we have some furniture that we brought from the old house, such as this flamingo. And we have a new car, beautiful. And aside from Dewdrop and Blunder, we also have Sandu, who is their first kid. And you gotta see like what I was saying with the facial diversity. So Sandu might not be ending up like a looker. And there's also Benny. Benny has interesting ears, but they also like the previous family. I've also created a little bit of a story for them. Not so much a story, but these are like how things started to be. So first of all, Dewdrop came in, and she is an oceanographer. She came in with the Marine Research Facility to work in there. And she lived in a little apartment meant for people who work there. She made enemies with a police officer, basically. And here I was still kind of like experimenting with how I wanted stories to be. So there's a lot of like non-edited screenshots, and it's going to be interesting to see how those turn up. But yeah, Blunder also moved into the apartments. They were separate households at this time. So Dewdrop was actually called Dewdrop Glisten Eye, and Blunder was Blunder Goldman. And now they're the Glisten Gold family, so they've merged their last name. And they've had a bunch of different shenanigans. Dewdrop was ghosted by her intended beau, Benjamin, and they were considering being engaged. But then he just ghosted her. So, and they met in the apartments. It took them quite a while to it took them quite a while to get their shit together, but eventually they did end up getting on top of it and getting married and having a child. And Sandu looked so horrible. Such a weird kid, but it's a thing. Blunder had a bit of a thing where he was considering splitting up at some point, but it turns out that love prevails. Oh, Benny was also a beautiful child, a beautiful toddler, and we've been kind of playing around with them. And recently they've moved into this house. Most of the little storylines that I've created so far, we don't go for anything like too extreme, for the most part. But it is quite interesting to see how like those storylines knit together. I'm playing mostly once-spaced, and I'm playing once-spaced selfish mode. So I'm not playing once-spaced and considering all of the options for each sim, considering who would be most compatible with who. I'm playing once-spaced, and whenever some individual wants something, I try to do it. So that can make into huge webs of like social situations, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting. But that's mostly it for this family. So Blunder is indeed the adventurer. He's a relic liberator, and Dewdrop is a marine biologist. And they've just been getting along with all the people in the neighborhood. Well, I say they, and I mean actually just her. So she's friends with Rosa, who we already met. She's also friends with Julep. Julep is another character that's relevant in this family. And this is Benjamin Long is her ex, basically. He's the one who ghosted her, and she still likes him. She hasn't like met up with him. They haven't done anything ever since, but she is still in love with him. So there's a lot of like interesting storyline to pull from there. Same goes for him. He used to be with Brandy. but they haven't met each other ever since he got together with Dewdrop. With the exception of that one time when he was like thinking about her back here. Way back when here. After the growing up of Sandu. And I've been trying to make them fun names, so we have Dewdrop, Blunder, Sandu, and then we have Benny. Benny is just weird. But okay, we will, let's get on with the next family so that we can kind of pick up the speed. Our next oldest family is the Letterman family, who's since then been divided into 2 different families. So we had some drama in here. So currently, Lettermans, they own the post office. And as you can see, it's quite interesting. So we have, well, you'll see. So the Letterman family lives in this quite small house, right next to these other like trailer home type houses. And their house is very small. The second story is very new also, again. So in this family lives the patriarch Bartholomeus Letterman, his son Neil, and his grandson Gert Michael. He's recently moved in his girlfriend Linen, and they've had twins together. I did not expect them to have twins, because I totally forgotten how twins happen in The Sims. So, you know, it is what it is. I don't particularly mind. So they are Maya and Betty. And they have not been named after Bartholomeus, despite being his kids. So this is, as you can understand, this is a potential hazard, as it is. It is already potential drama, because that's not Neil's mom. That's Donna. Donna is Neil's mom. So we've had some plot stuff going on, because they did move in to town as a one family, and you can see how the place used to be in the background. They came here to run the postal services, and that's what they have done. So Bartholomeus is the head of the household of the family, and he was paid to move in with Neil and set up the postal services. Donna has been putting her entire life on hold for this career move, and when they move in, she smoothly starts to take care of Gert Michael. Unfortunately, she, being like a housewife, hasn't left her with a lot of personal space. So this is where kind of like the Sims medieval inspired religion comes in, Church of the Watcher. And she spent a lot of her time in there playing the piano, because she used to be a concert pianist before she got married. Sadly, Bartholomeus, with Neil taking care of the post office and Donna away at church, he's been engaging in other types of activities with Linen Modiste, the living girlfriend, and also met Linen's mother, Kashmir. One thing that's more wholesome, love-wise, is that Neil is also going out with Abhijit. And they are engaged. Neil doesn't seem very interested in actually having Abhijit move in, but they do meet up occasionally and they seem to be quite in love. It's just, they're very private people, I assume. Eventually Donna found out about the cheating, and she split up with Bartholomeus. And she couldn't take it anymore. She'd been putting her entire life on hold for this man forever, and this is what she got in return. She actually moved out at this point, and we'll get to see what happened to her when we get to her next. But it's not all bad, because Gert Michael also had a lot of friendships. He has a friend in Clover Greens. Clover was a part of the first family we looked at today. And he is potentially the heir to the Greens' fortune. That's just been family shuffling. Basically, this is when Linen moved in to the household. And Gert Michael's been growing up. He's been kind of like a forgotten child between everything here, because of all of the stuff going on in this family. Gert Michael, especially after Donna moved out, Gert Michael really didn't have an adult in the family to look up to. With his dad being too busy with the post office and his granddad being kind of horrible and toxic, he's kind of been taking after his granddad, which is not great. His granddad went so far as to actually have kids with Linen, which is not ideal considering he's like about to keel over, right? So I guess we'll see what happens with that. And in the last episode, actually, we had this happen where Gert Michael met up with both of the Greens' kids, or the teenagers, Cherry and Clover, and kind of has stuff going on with both of them a little bit. I feel like he's just trying to find his center and a place of belonging, and he doesn't really know how to do that because he doesn't have that support at home. So it's not ideal. He is a romance sim, but I don't know if that's how he'll stay. He wants to go into college, so if he goes into college, I might let him re-roll his aspiration, or choose a secondary. We'll roll him a secondary aspiration at that point. But I just don't know. You know, I guess we'll see how he ends up. He has a potentially really tragic life ahead of him, or he just ends up being a good old Lothario, you know? We don't know yet. But we have some time in his teenhood to figure it out. He has 16 days, so that's going to be 4 days per rotation. He's going to have an entire year to figure that out. We'll see how it goes. As for the twins, Betty and Maya, we don't know yet. Because Linen is technically not even engaged to Bartholomeus, they are not married. In fact, Bartholomeus is actually engaged. Or was actually engaged until very recently to Linen's mom. It was a whole thing. Kashmir actually broke up with Bartholomeus. And it was a whole thing. He is pretty happy about it though. So maybe that'll mean something. But it doesn't look like he's really interested in settling down, and he wants to fall back in love with her. So I don't know. For some reason Bartholomeus has been like really popular among the women of this entire place. Like everyone seems to have had, when they've checked it out, everyone seems to have good relationship or good stuff with him. Like even Briella, the police officer, even she was like checking out Bartholomeus, and that's not great. It's not great. Briella and her mom, much like Clinton and her mom, and even Donna and Donna's kind of pseudo adopted child, both of them too. I don't know what it is about this man, but apparently women find him completely irresistible, and I can't relate, you know? It makes for interesting gameplay though, so it is what it is. It is what it is. But speaking of Donna, I do think we should check her out next. So Donna currently lives in this motel where, well, a lot of people live in here when they first move in. Dewdrop and Blunder did too. And she currently lives in here with her friend, Jean. Let's get into it. So they live in this motel. This was one of the locations purpose-built for this neighborhood. Like, well, everything was, but this is one of them. This is one of the early ones. Where we have larger apartments at the top floor, and then we just have single rooms with bathrooms at the bottom. and a communal kitchen, communal dining. This is truly like a motel experience. But they've just moved in here together just very recently. That's why their place is so plain. And let's just go through their short story. They don't have that much, but they have something. So, again, this reiterates that Donna was, first of all, a family woman. She put her career aside, her friends aside, her everything aside for her family. Not just for her husband, not just for her husband at the time, Neil Letterman, but her entire family. She raised her family, she raised her grandson, and she put her own dreams off. Until she discovered that she was being cheated on. And she had enough. She had enough, she couldn't handle it, and she dumped him. Dumped his ass. Good for her. And she joined a religious community for a while. She took the time off to figure herself out, to just live in harmony with the world, and try to rediscover herself as an elder for the first time in her life for possibly ever. And what a great time she had. She found a friend. She found a friend in the commune, and they did exit the commune together. And they just moved into this apartment. And they have kind of like a familial relationship. They're not together. There's just, in The Sims, it says that they're friends. But in my head, Jean is kind of like Donna's unofficial child. They just have like this deep understanding of each other and their life, and they're here to support and love each other. Both of them are straight, so it's not the oh my god they were roommates story. It is they're literally roommates. But yeah, Jean was in the Watcher's Embrace, and her parents are actually still in there, and she's just trying to find her own way in the world as well. She has a thing going with Canvas Modiste, and they seem to be pretty wholesomely in love, and she truly wants to get married to him. So she is like trying to figure herself out. The thing that's been stopping her thus far is, first of all, she doesn't want to go too fast, but second of all, what is she going to do with Donna? Is she... because they just moved in, and then she had her first date. She found the love, possibly of her life, and she's been going out with him a lot. But what happens to Donna if she gets married? Is she taking Donna with her? And therein lies the difficulty, because Canvas is actually the brother of Linen. The person who broke her marriage. Linen and Bartholomeus, they were together, and she still loves him. She was furious with him, and they did fall out of love. But she still... it's very difficult to stop loving someone who you've had a family together with, who you've spent your life together with, who has been your rock and your everything for tens and tens of years. So Donna has a lot of figuring stuff out to do. If she forgives him, what does that mean for what's gonna happen with Linen? Especially now that there's kids involved. And even if she forgives him, will she even have time? Bartholomeus is a bit older than her. So Bartholomeus might die before she gets over him, if she ever does. So there's a lot of like interesting story in here that we can and we are going to explore as we get to playing. A lot of conflicting viewpoints and different ones for how things are going to end. And because I'm not playing in a way where I'm trying to make the best thing happen or where I'm trying to make everyone be happy, I'm playing the way that they want to go. This kind of like conflict and the selfish way of playing with their needs, it really adds to it. And I really, truly, she's my favorite character for this kind of thing because she has so much things to figure out. She needs to sort herself out. And she's even gotten a job. It's not the best job, I'll have you that. And, but, you know, it is what it is. An additional wrinkle, right, is that the person, that Canvas, remember? The person that Jean is in love with and she wants to get married to? He's her boss. So, we have a lot of things to explore here, right? The next family I'm going to mention, but not show specifically, because these Sims were created to kind of be NPCs that live here. So, while I am playing through with them, they're not as relevant to the overall plot, and I don't think they need like a special mention in this video, aside from like just looking at it from here. So they have a cheated amount of money because they don't personally own this area. It is owned by the Church of the Watcher. And their story is just about how can they hold up this huge building with just the two of them? Because remember that they used to have Donna and they used to have Jean. Jean is their daughter. Jean was supposed to take over. Jean was supposed to like maintain the premises, maintain the grounds, but now it's just two of them. Will they be able to do that? Or is this going to become a historical site? Is it going to become a ruin? Are we going to reclaim it as, I don't know, like a hotel? I don't know. But it's going to have to change unless someone moves in and someone younger moves in to help them out, because they surely can't take care of this themselves. And it's going to be interesting how that happens to various communities throughout time. They can't even like really go out themselves as much, but you know, that's them. I don't think they really need more right now. The next family who moved in was the Crunch family, and in the Crunch family we have siblings. We have Max and Dot, and let's see how things go. Let's just enter the lot and I'll tell you. So Max and Dot, they are siblings and they live really close to the Lettermans here, on this kind of like modern side of these like row houses situation. And Max is the builder of the town. He owns the construction office. And Dot is she's a scientist. They also have a cat named Minus. So the three of them, they live together and pretty harmoniously actually. They haven't had a lot of drama going on as of now, but it is starting to pick up and I can feel that. So Max has been, well, he's been kind of seeing Peter Sims, and Dot has been seeing Joe Carr, but neither of them seem to, well, now they have, but they haven't so far, aside from like the very end of the last episode, they haven't had that many ones to actually engage with their partners. And that's something that I'm fine with, but I guess we'll see if the Letterman or the Crunch family name lives on or not. They've had some story bits, so let me just get to it. They moved into town and they lived in one of the apartments that I built. Most of their beginning stuff was really tame. They didn't do much other than go to work and then sometimes just hanging out with Midas, the cat. There were some like high points for the storyline. So Max did find his partner quite developed quickly. And then they moved into this place. And not a lot has been going on. Except for some reason, well, I know why, but they don't like each other. It's because Max keeps looking with his telescope and spying on Colin. So Colin really doesn't like Max, and Max does not like Colin for that reason. So whenever they meet, I'm trying to make them fight, basically. So that's been fun. Max actually got the wish to turn into a witch, so I've allowed him to do that. And he's been torturing Colin ever since. Their rivalry has been fantastic. The relationship cooldown is a bit too large for my liking, so I have to actively try to make them enemies, but it's been turning out, and he is in fact an evil warlock who is well, he works in the construction, he owns the construction office, and he is a builder. So whenever Sims build something large in town, I've been making them pay the Crunch family, because that's the way kind of that's the way I kind of like to play this. It's been interesting. It's been pretty cool. I just like it as a way to remove money from Sims that have it and then give it to someone who doesn't really. And building construction is supposed to be a fairly lucrative career, and I'd prefer him not to have the actual career. I would prefer him to get all of his money directly from the town, but I guess we'll see how that goes. Next one in line is the Modiste family, who lives in these apartments/row houses. And they are the next people who were added to the save. So they live in an apartment right here, one of this tall one. And they have really high bills. Regardless of how much they make money, their apartment is still not good. It's been getting better, but it's been taking so much time. So Kashmir is Canvas's mom, and she is kind of like the female Bartholomeus of this this place. She's currently engaged to Neri Turner. Well, she was in love with Bartholomeus, engaged to well, we'll see. I'll show you. So they also, again, like most of the other families, or all of the other families, I've been keeping up tabs on their storyline. So they moved into town to sell stuff at a clothing shop because I wanted to have a place where Sims could buy clothes. By this point, we had started to have like kids turning into teens, or like toddlers turning into kids, growing up in town. So it made sense that we started needing a clothing shop. And Kashmir moved in with her two kids, Linen and Canvas. And they've had a bit of a rowdy time in the apartment. Even as going as far as Canvas trying to woo Rosa, which didn't turn out, as we know from having seen the Greens family before. And Kashmir meeting Neri in the church, which is an interesting choice. Ending up somehow wanting to propose to Bartholomeus, despite knowing that her own daughter was seeing him. So Kashmir is truly a villain of the series. Oh yeah, and her daughter was pregnant at the time as well, so this is like terrible parenting. Also had this little gem, a much more wholesome experience of Canvas proposing to Jean. And this was so adorable. However, Kashmir is a fickle lady of fickle passions, breaking up with Bartholomeus, just only to get engaged to Neri instead. However, clearly she's still in love, wants to fall in love with Bartholomeus. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But she's betrayed. She's betrayed her child. She's betrayed her fiancé. She's betrayed who used to be her bestie. And she's going to try to take her own child's man from her again. So this is truly the kind of like toxic gameplay that I'm for. It's horrible, see, but when you play in a way where you do what the Sims want, regardless of what other Sims want, that's where like the telenovela drama comes in, truly. But yeah, it's interesting. See, oh gosh, it's weird. It's weird. And it's horrible, and I love it. The 7th family we have in rotation is the Blue family, with Briella and her parents. So we'll get to see about that. Briella is a police officer in the town. So this is the Blue household. In here we have Bellamy. Bellamy is the mother, I suppose. Then we have the team dad. We have Brunt, and we have Briella. And Briella is the police officer of the of the town, basically. She works in the police station, and yeah, we added her here because we started to get like issues with security, basically, and I felt like we needed a police station in town. As far as the rest of the family is, Bellamy just literally the last time we played, she decided to become a gamer. So she's like kind of a Shirley Curry gamer grandma type person. Goodness knows what she's doing, but she's doing whatever she wants, I guess. And then we have Brunt. Brunt is an intriguing character. He is a numbers runner. So he's actually a criminal. So an interesting storyline that I'm trying to figure out is if Briella is gonna end up having to deal with Brunt, and if that's gonna be impacting either of them negatively, just because of their prospective careers. And this is also one of the houses that's been based on a 50s floor plan, kind of like how the house opposite to us is, the Glissengold household. This is kind of like the 50s area, I guess, of the town. So they don't actually have that much going on with them, storyline-wise. It's just they moved in, and Briella's dating Matthew Smith. He's this elderly character, and because of the way that I'm playing rotationally, and because of the fact that she hasn't had any inclination to see him move in, they're not even really in love. I don't know if that's really an issue, because he'll only age up whenever he gets into the household. He'll stay up as an NPC otherwise. So that's going to be interesting. Other than that, this household has been fairly event-free. It is relatively new. It is one of our newer households, so they haven't yet had time to like really get involved in the rotation and in the other houses. But it has been fun. We have one more family after this, but the October family is the last family in Silkenshore, and it's Julep and Morgan. And I'll just show you how they are. So Julep and Morgan live in this house right here, in this row with these other families, and on the modern side. Because of them being relatively new, again, their house is still relatively chill, but we've begun to make like these interesting interior choices, and everything about them is kind of like different. So Julep is like a goth kind of, and Morgan is like this pastel queen, and they owned the bar/nightclub, which has been kind of a boon for everyone involved in the household so far. Not much going on with them. They literally moved in and they have a cat. Other than that, there hasn't been like huge amounts of plot. They've had a bit of bad luck lately, but like I said, they're relatively new. I think we've only played with them for a couple of seasons, so we haven't yet had the time to really get to know them all that much. Still, I feel like they're going to be such a good addition to the house, for the house rotation, and also we really did need a watering hole for the adults to hang out at, because oh gosh, it was either going to the school grounds or going to church before then, or the Marine Research Center, which none of which are good for like club gatherings or adult friend groups or anything like that. So I suppose in one way or the other they will end up contributing. And also their cat Sherry is really cute. Siamese little cat. The final family is actually not in Silkenshore, it's in Grimsby, our shopping district that we just added, and they live right here. And they are the Vara family, or Vara family. They are interesting. They live in this little house, and they are the owners of the gas station in here. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to add more chaos to the family, and I did, and let's jump into it. So first of all, because they just moved in, and I do love a good rags to riches, and because of their money was spent on the gas station, they are really poor. They basically live in this shack. And even the addition of this room here was a semi-recent addition. So that could tell you a lot about them. So the head of the family is Arturo Vara, and he is a gas station attendant. He owns the gas station. And he has a storied past, which we're trying to kind of put together as we play. So he's kind of like a hippie kind of character, and he has a wife, Edoria Vara, who is a grey alien. So I was thinking about making a green alien, but then I figured we could get green aliens later, just by playthrough ways. So I made a grey alien, and they have a couple of kids. They have Basara as a kid and Gargle. Beautiful names, and of course they have a dog, 388. 388, or affectionately called Numbers. Don't worry about him. Aliens, they're fine outside. See, Gargle is fine. Anyway, they have 71 simoleons. So their thing is not good. So they moved in to town. And it's been a bit of fun. Arturo and Edoria are much made in heaven, literally, in the skies above SimCity. And they are both romance sims, so this is a consensual poly relationship. If they find a third or fourth, you know, I don't mind. And 388 Numbers is, of course, Edoria's second in command. He's an alien dog, you see. And they own the gas station. Something that is relevant to us thus far as plot goes, is that Vasara and Gert Michael have had a kind of like an altercation multiple times in the past. So are they going to like become partners in crime? Are they going to be enemies? We don't know, but it's something that I'm very interested to see. I think they used to have like really bad relationships, and they still do. They're furious with each other. So we have some potential enemy energy here. Or maybe both of them realize that they've been kind of like overlooked in their own houses. Because Vasara is kind of stuck caring for Gargle whenever her parents are doing other things. So maybe they can bond over that later. Who knows? We could have like a real enemies to lovers story ahead of us. But considering that they don't have good compatibility, and Vasara is a family sim, we might be in some trouble. regardless, I think this is one of the new, like, slowly emerging juicy storylines, and I look so forward to exploring that. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see how that goes. Back here in Silkenshore, like, proper, I'm really glad about how this town has been forming out and coming out. And I have really had a huge blast just making these YouTube videos. Not just for you, but for me, and as a way to kind of push myself to do different things. I've been starting to use Google Sheets to track stuff. I've used like external programs. I've shown like on video how I've made all of the story bits and how I've made all of those different screenshots and edited them. And it's been such... It's just seeing all of the families like play off of each other and like knit together in these weird and unique and cursed ways. Especially with the case of like the Modistes and the Lettermans. And like Donna's story, I could have never like come up with that. It's been so great. And I now that the teenagers and the kids of the town are starting to grow up, it's so amazing. I truly can't recommend doing similar things more in your own games. And I'll leave some resource links to the description, not only to the map creators who made the map of Silkenshore itself and who made the Grimsby's map, but also to external programs. Like I'll leave a link to Clip Studio Paint, I'll leave a link to, I don't know, Audacity, maybe OBS, that's what I use, and also to my favorite possibly program that I've used in this Let's Play, which is the My Family Tree app. It's actually a genealogy program that is really great at building nuanced family relationships. For example, let me show you. So here is like a normal family, what a normal family looks like. See, we have parents, we have a child. We have unknown parents, not non-canon parents, and we have some children. We have like families. They are beautiful. We have the Greens family working as expected. You can put up like different pictures and stuff. But the real reason why I love this program is because you can do cursed things like this family tree. For example, this one, you have Donna and Bartholomew, they are divorced, and it shows them in the tree. It shows that Neil is their child. It shows that Gert Michael is Donna's grandchild. It shows that I've decided that Donna is a surrogate mom of sorts to Jean, and this app can kind of show that. You can make it show that Betty Modiste, Lynn and Bartholomew's love child, is actually also like connected to Donna because this is an ex relationship. So very, very nuanced situation, and I love that. You can also use it to do different kinds of visualizations. You can visualize by ancestors, so it automatically just shows you the genetic ancestors and nothing else. You can show it by a fan. So Betty's ancestors are like this, and they go and they work like this. or Bartholomew's, he has people in his family like this. Neil has two parents. So it really helps, especially if you have larger families. The more this kind of thing really works for you, and you can like reshuffle things. Another thing that's kind of fun about this is that you can choose a sim and set a sim as the primary person. So now it says Donald Letterman is the primary person. Now I can go to Bartholomew's and Betty, for example, and it will tell me what the relationship between those two sims is. It's really great for new families, like building families, and just for stuff like this. I can actually show you. I'll show you another. This is just me shilling right now. But let me show you another. This is for my own private thing. So, for example, here's another family that you can show. So the best has had multiple children. They are all with different dads, but this can show you that, for example, Cuisine and the best and the Crester are now together, and Carlia is Crester's sibling. Like, it really works when trees get really large, but again, this is not topical really for Silkenshore, so let me just go back to this. But yeah, highly recommend it. And thank you, hey, thank you for watching. It really has been a huge influence for me to just be able to hear and see all the beautiful comments and kind gestures and the likes and stuff. It's beautiful. I do this mostly for me, to be honest. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't feel good to know that things are like seen and appreciated, of course. But hey, this has been the recap episode. Thank you for being here, and welcome in episode 51. I have been me, you have been you, and we have been recapping The Sims 2. Bye!